Hey everyone, this is me, Undead Viking. I want to talk to you about this game, and it's called Drivin. As you can probably guess, Drivin is a race game that uses dice. It is kind of a risk-reward type of game because of the fact that the dice allow you to move down the track on this street race that you and everybody else is involved in, but the dice have the possibility of causing bad things to happen, like crashes. Basically, the dice all have, like, you know, different abilities to either maneuver your car or propel your car forward, but they also have a crash side on them, and if you roll too many crashes, well, then something bad could happen to both you and your car that'll cause you to slow down and also cause you to stop altogether to fix your car so then you can get back on the road and chase down your opponents and see who can reach the finish line first. Now, I'm a big fan of racing games. I really like them. My friend Brian introduced me to them a few years ago. He introduced me to, like, Formula D and some other ones, and I have then become kind of a racing game junkie. One of my favorite games, like in my top 10, if I ever did like a top 10 or top 50, Thunder Alley would be on there. I'm actually undefeated in that game. So, anyway. But I am not undefeated, however, in Drivin. But let me show you how to play the game. It is a relatively simple game, but it has lots of fun and tough choices that you'll be faced with as you play the game. And then after you learn how to play Drivin, we'll come back here and I'll tell you exactly why myself and my game group and my daughter have been having a lot of fun with this one. Alright, cool. Let's do it. Alright, this is Drivin. Let me just talk about what you're looking at right now. Okay, I've gone ahead and set up the beginning of the race. There is this little start board here, and all 4 cars are set up like that. And then you have this very first stretch of road, and those are and you can see there's this little tiny symbol, the Drivin symbol there. And so those are always going to be the first 2 stretches of road. Now, you have this deck, and depending on how long you want the race to be, you can use as many of these cards as you want. The one thing is, and this is kind of giving away the spoiler for me, is that you take the bottom, you take the finish line, and you mix it in with the last 3 cards, and you can see here, like this deck, this one wouldn't have been used. So you mix it in so you don't know exactly when the finish line is going to be, so you can't count on that. And then you put that on the bottom, and then you pick however many cards, other cards you want for the race to be, and then you go ahead and set that up. So, you know, we kind of have an idea of how long it's going to be, but you don't know exactly when the finish line is going to show up. So, each person will either pick or randomly be distributed one of these 4 cars. They are in the, like, kind of pinkish purple and red and yellow and green. Now notice this is a prototype I was sent, so just keep that in mind as I show you how to play the game. The published version will look different, and I invite you to go ahead and check out the Kickstarter page to go ahead and see what that looks like. Alright, but each car has their own specific stats. So let's just grab one of these cars here real quick. And, like, here is the Red Hawk. And so the Red Hawk has a 2 as far as their steering wheel. So they have 2 steering wheel tokens. They have 4 body tokens. They have 4 cards that they get to draw out of this deck. I'll talk more about the cards in a little bit. And then they get 5 Drivin dice, as they get to pick each turn when they go. And I'll explain how that works. Now, comparatively, like, you can just see, like, yellow has only 3 cards, 4 like wheel tokens and 4 body tokens, and they get 6 dice. So there's different stats, different abilities for each one of these cars to kind of make them somewhat different. I mean, they're all very equal and even. I never found any level of car to be better or worse than any of the other ones. But it can suit different types of play, you know, as far as, you know, how you want to play the game when you are playing. But anyway, regardless, you get the tokens that represent both of those stats, because when you take damage as you're driving, which you will lose these tokens. If you ever lose all of one type of token, say lose like all of your body tokens or all of your tire tokens, you will then decrease down 1 stat on your Drivin dice available, meaning that you have less dice that you can roll when it is your turn. You can take a repair action on your turn, which basically gives up your entire turn to, like, just repair, and then you get to repair your dice all the way back up to the top. But I'll get more into that in just a little bit. So that's kind of the basic mechanism as far as the damage goes with your car. Now, I rolled before I began the game to get pole position. What each person is supposed to do is they take these 3 blue dice. These are the speed dice. Each person rolls them. Whoever gets the highest amount gets to be in pole position. So the green car won, so they're in 1. The pink car got number 2, and then so on and so forth. And so red 3 and yellow 4. And that will be the turn order for the rest of the game. So there won't ever be like a thing where, you know, green goes first this round, and the next round will be somebody else, or so on and so forth. Like, it's always going to go, you know, 1, you know, green, pink, or purple, or whatever you want to call it, red, and yellow as far as the turn goes. So on your turn, what you're going to do is you're going to decide, you look at how many dice you have available. So green has 6 dice available, and they decide how many dice they want to roll on their turn. Now, they have these 3 speed dice, they have these 3 maneuver dice, and they have these 2 nitro dice. So, as you can probably guess, the speed dice are for moving, or for, you know, like speeding along. Maneuver dice are for actually making maneuvers, like changing lanes and so forth. And the nitro dice are special because they have 3 symbols that have this nitro symbol on them, which basically allows a car to move regardless of like what the difficulty is to move on a particular stretch of road. And they also have 3 of these crash tokens. Whereas, in comparison, you can see like the speed die, they still have a crash token right there, but you'll notice that that's the only crash token on there. So nitro dice are very good as far as like if you want to move fast, but the chances of you rolling some crash tokens is very well. If you roll 1 crash token when you roll your dice, it's not that big of a deal. Nothing bad happens. But if you roll 2, 3, 4, or 5, something bad is going to happen. So if we were going to start and green goes first, they have that clean stretch of road straight at them. They don't have to worry about changing lanes. So they want to move forward. Now what you do is you look at the card, and I'm just going to show you this up close here. You can see there's this little 2 and a like a lightning bolt there. That means that for every 2 speed total you get to move your car. So at the beginning of your turn, you decide if you're either going to move your car or you're going to repair. Obviously, you're probably going to move at this beginning. So I'm going to roll the nitro dice as well, just see what happens here. It should be noted that the opening start spot as well has the exact same thing. So we're going to roll, see what we get here. And so I got 1 crash token. That's the only crash token I got. So I don't have to worry about anything bad happening. So I got a nitro token, and then I got a total of 6 speed. So I'm going to go right off the top. So the nitro token allows me to move 1, and then I can move 3 more. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And so green is out, and they're rolling. So let's just keep going. Let's see what happens here. So let's do the exact same thing for our like pinkish purplish car over here, which is called the Baby Rocket. And we're going to go ahead and roll because they have a maximum of 6 dice, but we don't need to have to turn. So we're going to do the exact same thing. Let's see if I can get a couple of crash tokens here. And nope, same deal. Only 1 crash, a nitro, and we get a total of 7. So we can move pretty much the exact same speed as the other, as the green did, because of the fact that that 1 extra speed is wasted. So we're just going to go 1 for the nitro, and then 6 divided by 2 is 3, so 1, 2, 3. So they're neck and neck like so. That's pretty simple, right? Really simple. Now, it gets more difficult as you get to the next cards, because cards are going to have turns and different requirements to move, but we'll get to that in just a second. Now, it should be noticed that, I'm just going to show you this to you real quick, is that this particular spot right here, you'll notice it says +1 speed. To go over that spot, you actually have to spend 1 extra speed to get, to move into that location. So when the pink car goes next, that's something they're going to have to worry about on their turn. Now let's go ahead and we're going to do red. And now red, remember, they have to make a lane change. And so they're going to have to use, they have 5 total dice that they can have available. So we're going to go 3, 1, and 1. And we're going to try to get a lane change on our green so we can do, and you can only do 1 lane change per turn, just so you know, like you can't just like go back and forth. So we're going to see what happens here. Let's roll these. And I knew it! So I rolled 2 crash results like so, and I also got a nitro. So what's going to happen here is because we rolled those 2, we can go forward 2 because of the fact, but we can't, we don't have a result there that's going to allow us to do anything. So we've had a crash. Now, because of the fact that it is 2, if we were next to another car, like if these 2 cars, you roll 2 crashes, if we were next to another car, we would have a situation where we would actually do body damage to both our car and the other car, because those 2 cars collided. But because of the fact that the red car is all by themselves, there's nobody adjacent to them, and adjacent doesn't always mean like side to side, it can be front to back as well. So because of that, what we can do is we're going to lose one of our tire tokens. And so you remove that from it, and we only have 1 tire token left, which would that would kind of stink if that happens again. So we remove that tire token, and that's the damage that we've taken because of the crash. Now, that is with 2 crash tokens that you roll. If I had rolled 3 crash tokens, let's go ahead like that. If I had rolled 3 crash tokens, that would cause me to lose a driving die automatically. So like I wouldn't have to, like, it wouldn't be the situation where I've lost all my body parts or body tokens or my wheel tokens. You just lose a die. If you rolled 4 crash tokens, we're kind of going crazy here with bad luck. If you rolled 4 crash tokens, what happens is that you've fallen behind, or you've become a straggler. When that happens, basically you're going to lose a turn. So what you do is you turn your car around to face the other way, and then in your next turn, you don't get to do anything, and then you get to turn your car back around the other way, and then on the next turn, then you'd be able to move normally. Now, if you have really bad luck, and I've never seen this happen, because it's basically a Yahtzee almost, if you roll 5 crash tokens, you have totaled your car, and you're completely out of the race. I haven't had that happen yet, but I guess theoretically it is within the laws of probability, so it could occur. But if that does happen, that is what occurs. Now, let's just kind of move forward so I can show you what else happens in the game. As soon as a car gets to the edge, the player will draw the next spot, and then they'll have the next spot of the road. So here we have this spot. It's like you can't move into that area because of the fact that the road's gone bad. But you'll also see it's kind of wavy. So you'll see we have both a 2 with the lightning bolt up there, but on this bottom part, there's a 2 with the steering wheel. So what that tells you, and so then the player can place that however they want. And they're probably going to want to place it like this, so they don't have to make any turns. So they're going to be able to go on their turn. They're just going to be able to move and, not have to worry about that spot. But on their turn, when they move, they're going to have to actually get both 2 speed and get 2 steering wheel or maneuver results to move 1 space. And now this is where those nitro dice come in handy, because remember, the nitro dice just work. They don't rely on rolling the perfect setup. So as we have all these dice, maybe we will go 2. We could go, because we have 6 dice possible. We could go 2 green, we could go 2 blue, and we could go 2 red. And let's just see what happens when we get that. Wow, I rolled really well. I only got 1 crash, and I got 2. So I can combine those 2 with these 2 right there, and that would be the equivalent of moving forward 1. And then we get 2 nitro dice, which includes, it would be moving forward as well. So we can go 1, 2, 3, and so then we'd get all the way up there, and probably the rest of the players would be cursing me for having the good luck that I'm having. Alright, so there's one other thing I want to show you as far as a move that you can make. So if you're in a situation, let's say I'm right there and the pink car is behind me, like so. And they want to do what's called an overtake maneuver, because they want to get past me, and because I'm blocking the way, they can't go through that spot. So you can do this at any time, and you can overtake multiple cars. You just have to make sure that you have to roll well enough on your dice to actually get to the spot in front of you. So in this case, my pink car there needs to get a total of 4 steering wheels and 4 speed. Let's see if I can do it. So let me just roll and see what happens. So, alright, so I didn't get it. I actually rolled 2 crash tokens. So, okay, so now we have a situation where we do the normal crash, and because of the fact that I'm adjacent, what would happen there is that the pink car would take 2 body damage, and the other car, the green car, actually takes 1 body damage in that situation. But, let's just, for the sake of argument, just so I can show you how this works, let's say I got 4 steering wheels, like so. Well, actually, you know, let's just go ahead and make my roll like amazing. So I got, let's say I got like that. So I actually got like 6 steering wheels and 6 speeds. So what would happen is that I would overtake the car like so, and I move my normal movement, so I get to go 3 spaces, 2, you know, because of the fact that I rolled really well. But because I overtook the car, now I have to roll what's called a risk roll because of the fact that I might actually collide with them. So we're going to roll these 3, and hopefully we don't get 2 crash tokens when we roll these. And you roll the 3 speed dice. And I only got 1 crash token, so nothing would happen. Now, if I rolled 2 crash tokens, what would happen is that I would collide with the green car, and the same thing would happen before. Like, I would take 2 body damage, and the green car would take 1 body damage. And because of the fact that we reached that spot, we would then go ahead, as normal, draw another one. And here we have a turn, and so I can just want to show that to you quickly. So turn, and you can see like it's 1 speed and 2 maneuver to the turn. And now you can set the turn however you want. You can have it turn this way or that way. So we'll just go like this. And so the next turn, and obviously then we can get the quick run because there's only 2 spaces there, whereas 3 on the other side. So things like that. So the game will continue on. You're going to be taking damage to your cars as far as like both the crashes by yourself and also crashing into the cars. You can, as I said, on your turn, if you want to, like if the pink, let's say the pink car had like, further on, we're down to one body, and we're down to like 4 dice, so we've got 1 wheel and 1 body left. You can, on your turn, say, I'm going to repair. And so you just do the straggle, which means that you're going to miss your turn. But when you do that, what happens is you heal completely. You get all of your tokens back, and you get all of your dice back. And you might run into a situation where you have to do that just so you can compete and continue on, so you can keep up with everybody else. So that's what you would do on your turn if you wanted to repair. Remember, you either move or you repair, basically. Now, I mentioned the cards, and I'm just going to show you this quickly. Depending on the number of cards you get, you're going to get these cards. These are the cards you have. You don't get to draw any more. Basically, the cards just give you either one or 2 different abilities, and you get to use them. Like here, steady driving, roll only 3 dice, and recover a tire token. Because you don't have to roll your maximum dice. You can roll less. Or add a speed to any die you've rolled, pedal to the metal. But it's not allowed when leading. So there's different things like that. Or let's just see what this one is. So re-roll a single die that has not yet been re-rolled. Not allowed when leading. Or once again, pedal to metal. But there's other ones that, like here, the swerve. Ram the hot rod next to you. They lose 2 bodywork tokens. You lose 1 bodywork, and it's banned on the first turn. But so that you actually can be offensive when you actually do your attacks. But so here we go. Once the reroll. So you're gonna get these dice here. Like I think this one because if you're in the last place, skip your roll and lose 1 die. Move forward 3 spaces. So like if you're in the last place and you have to basically like last ditch effort, like you're on a turn or something where you know you're not gonna be able to roll like a ton of dice together. You can also like save that to move ahead, like towards the end of the race, because of the fact that you can actually play this in a championship mode where like you do the entire race, you score points depending on where you finished, and then you race again, and then you could race multiple times. You don't have to race just twice, but you could race 2, 3, 4 times, and then you total up the points for like your placing in each of those races to determine who wins. Now normally, you just have a race to the finish line, and whoever crosses the finish line obviously would be the winner. Whoever gets that first. But like in a tournament situation, you would actually play the whole race out to figure out then like the placing for each and every one of the players. So there you go. I mean, the game obviously is pretty straightforward. It's pretty simple, but it is one of these fantastic little fun dice rolling frenetic type games that I really, really enjoy, that I have a lot of fun with, because of the fact that it is kind of harkens back to, yeah, it's a filler, but it reminds me of the games I played when I was younger, and also I played the same types of games when I was younger with the people in my gaming group, and we really enjoy, these games have their place on my shelf because of the fact that I have tons of games that are like big, long, meaty Euros or like really involved miniatures, war games and things like that. But having the ability just to sit back and roll the dice and you know, cheer for your good luck and curse your bad luck and laugh and joke around with your friends, this game just adds that fun to my gaming night. And I love this game as a setup as I'm getting ready to play a bigger game, and I also love it as a cool down game after I've played like a big game or several other big games, and I just want one last game to finish off the night and have some fun. So let me talk more about that in my conclusion, and which I'll do right now. Not the same as a game box. All right, so there you go. That is how you play Dice Drivin, I hope. You know, I didn't mention it as I was talking about it, but I really, really dig the art because they've actually gone with that kind of pixelized, like playing a little tiny handheld Nintendo game type of racing game kind of look to it or whatever. It's kind of retro in a way, and I really enjoy that. I mean, I know it's been kind of done to death a little bit as far as the whole like the pixelated art, but in some games like that are like that fit the genre, I think this works really well because it feels kind of like playing like kind of an old school video game, because it feels, as I said, kind of like a throwback to the games that I played when I was growing up. But there's enough meat on the bone here to actually make the game a lot of fun because of the fact that, as I said in the introduction, it is like a risk-reward type situation. You are going to have multiple times, especially, you know, at the beginning you're just throwing dice. You're like, okay, yeah, fine, roll the dice, you know, and you just want to get as fast as you can. But as your car slowly starts deteriorating and crashing and becoming less and less stable, you know, the fuel of your car is the dice in your hand. And if you're not paying attention to like how much damage or how many dice you're losing, pretty soon you're going to be in a spot where, you know, you're only rolling 2 or 3 dice possible max, and you're just not going to have like the power to keep moving. And so then unfortunately, like the worst possible thing in any game that's like this is completely forfeiting your turn. And because if you run into that situation where you have to forfeit your turn just so you can get everything back, yes, it sometimes will end up being like a situation where you have to do it, but it is crippling. And so like I found the game to be wonderful in that regard because of the fact that you wanted to kind of keep the resource that is your car, you know, up and running and going and not having to worry about it, but also you have to weigh that against, you know, just, you know, putting your foot down all the way and just, you know, going, you know, nutball down the track and trying to be in the lead and keep that lead as well. And you know obviously there's like, you know, sometimes in these games I worry a little bit because of the fact that I feel like the obvious choice is too obvious, if you will. And I'll admit, like I said at the very beginning, you start rolling those dice and cashing them in as quick as possible. But as the game progresses and as you kind of see where everybody else is at and how much damage they've taken and how fast or slow the other cars are and your opponents, then you have those tough choices, as I said. And plus, the fact that, like, you have all these different types of turns and curves and whatever that require different types of dice to be able to actually move successfully on them. I mean, then like it kind of compounds that decision and actually makes the game like tricky. And then also what I like about tricky games is that when I kind of solve the trick, it makes me feel happy because I was smarter than the trick, if you will. And so I've said this in a few reviews in the past, and a lot of reviews in the past, that I like games that make me feel smart or make me feel lucky, you know, or just make me feel successful. And Dice Drivin does that. And as I said, as I was telling you how to play the game, this is a game where, like, when everybody gets their dice out and gets ready to roll, the entire focus is on that one person in the dice roll. And like as soon as they roll it, everybody's like, you know, totaling up the crash tokens, and they're hoping, especially if it's like 2 of your opponents that are like right next to each other, you're hoping, come on, crash tokens, come on, and you're just praying that somebody like does that, so then you can see 2 of your opponents smash into each other and do damage to each other, and nothing is more enjoyable than you see that. And so it's the game, like, and I'm sure you've played games like this where somebody rolls the dice and you're like, and like 2 or 3 people together are like, yes! And then one person's like, ah! Or reverse, you know, like the one person who rolls the dice, they're like, yeah! And then everybody else is like, oh, Jeez. And I like that. I mean, there's something to be said for getting involved and getting excited about a game, and Dice Drivin does that for me, especially when I'm playing against my daughter, who is just about the worst winner ever. Well, I shouldn't say that. To me, she is, because she knows I'll let her get away with it. But regardless. All right, so there you go. That is Dice Drivin. If you have any questions about the game, please ask away. I'll be happy to answer those to the best of my ability. As always, I appreciate you very much taking the time to watch this video. And until next time, this is me, the Untitled Viking, and I'm telling you to have yourself one heck of an awesome day. All right, bye-bye.